want that old thing back.
I share, peace to the gods, I share, peace to the earth, I share, peace king, peace to the kings, I share, peace queen, peace to the queens, I share.
Yeah, it's peace king when you see me in the street, proper greeting. To not acknowledge a light being is not the season. No ego, clearly the leader of the people. Vision like Calico, this for my amigos. Leaning on that window of that Rego. I'm praying that one day he gonna be free though. They ran up in the crib while he's peeking through the peephole. Never thought it would be divine evil. Creeping with that heat close. They say I walk round like I got an S on my chest. Now that's a gold-plated no baguettes on my chest. Like a movie, words got special effects. A old school G used to bump Rex and effects. And the Fugees, youngins, know that I'm next. I pump knowledge to the streets so they show respect. Cause I did it without the fraudulent stories about me blowing a tech. I let the Most High order my steps. Feel me? Gotta know what time it is, man. It's the age of Aquarius. Each one, teach one. What it is.
I share, peace to the gods, I share, peace to the earth, I share, peace king, peace to the kings, I share, peace queen, peace to the queens, I share.
The quarterback need protection from the lineman for the yards. More makers in alignment with the stars. Too many MCs lying in your bars. And you wonder why they ain't buying your cars. Like, oh, keep violent cause he won't keep silent about police violence. Keeping both heats firing for the whole weekend dying. No need for sirens. Third eye islands open and vibrant. Jamaar Milton shining. Hard to watch a young king get killed and he died over cigarettes. Shit. Steady talking about you real, you ain't let your gat pale for that nigga yet. Shit. And even if we drop the bag off, you probably front like, nah, I need a bigger check. But I just seen you on the internet, talking about you been a threat. We sick of that. You know what I mean? It's right. You gotta
Peace, family. When I tell you, they don't want you to get this work, they don't want you to get this work. Nonetheless, we will get this work, and we will restore the frequency and vibration of the planet. Put your nines up. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Come on in. Yes. Let's get this work. Assalamu alaikum, shalom. Hotep. Grand Rising, family. Grand Rising. Let me shut this computer down to make sure y'all can see me. Make sure you can see me. Because we're going in. There are many forces at play that don't want you to get this information. There are many forces at play that don't want you seeing what you're about to see, hearing what you're about to hear. The one thing that I can guarantee you is that after this feed, you will not be able to unhear what you have heard. You will not be able to unsee what you have saw. Okay? So if you are ingrained in whatever gospel you've been raised in, I advise you to move on to another video right now. I'm going to give you some time. I advise you to do that now. As I was saying earlier in the feed, I am no stranger to Christianity. I served 38 years. 38 years in Christianity. I will be on the level of a master teacher or a master If you look at Freemasonry, it takes 40 years. I served 38 years in Christianity. There's really nothing you can tell me about Christianity in any walk. Whatever sect it was, I have been through those houses. Okay? From Full Gospel to Kojic to Baptist to AME, I have walked through every single one of those houses. Zion, whatever you want to deal with in terms of Christianity. And like I said, this is not to toot my own horn. This is to let you know the level of expertise. I do not speak on subjects that I have not walked through the house of. As I said earlier, I cannot speak on a man's house unless I've been in his house. There are many scholars who speak on Christianity and have never been in the sects of Christianity. They can't give you receipts. Jamaar Milton is not that guy. Anything that I speak on, I'm going to be able to give you receipts on. Okay? So now, when we're speaking in terms of Jesus, right, amongst any other characters in the Bible, I have to bring you back, all the way back to its inception. When were these things created? When was it introduced to the world? Right? Who was the first man to get a hold of this information and present it to the masses? Right? Well, let's deal with the text. The text talks about certain entities. It talks about, in the beginning was heavens and the earth. Right? So we know the heavens were here. So from the time man got here, man saw the heavens. He saw the heavens. This is the first thing that man sees. When you come out of the womb of Africa in the Garden of Eden, the first thing you're going to see is the heavens. Naturally, the heavens will be the first science that man has ever developed. The study of the heavens, or what we call astronomy. Astronomy was the first science ever developed. We have the proof of that on the walls of Kemet in the Dendera temple. The temple of Dendera is where you find this. What you're looking at is actually the development of not astrology, but of not astronomy, but astrology. Okay? Actually, it's the other way around. Astronomy. That is the study of the stars. You're looking at the first zodiac wheel. This is the first zodiac wheel ever created. We created that science. Okay? This and this is the same thing in color. And what you can see here are all the symbols of the zodiac in the middle, showing you the rotation of the sun as it moves around the cosmos. Okay? Which was later interpreted to what you see here, with all the different zodiac principles. As the earth moves around, or the sun moves around, whether you believe in flat earth or whether you believe in global earth, we know that the sun is going to be found in separate locations across the plane of a year, a solar year. One of the major things in Kemet that we were concerned with was the cosmos. Why? Why were we concerned with the cosmos? The only reason why we were concerned with the cosmos was because there was a time to harvest, there was a time for the flood, and there was a time for planting seeds. Do you understand? This is how we actually made our year. It was according to when we were going to be planting, reaping, and sowing. So we had to know what the sun was doing, what time of the year it was. We had to calculate. Very important. Very important. So with that being said, we created and anthropomorphized these cosmic beings, these cosmic entities in the sky, which we call stars. We made them into people. We made them into animals to tell a story as to what the sun is doing, when it is doing it, and why it is doing it, where it's going to be next. When you take this collection of stories, and put it in a book form, that would be what you call the Bible. The Bible is called Helios Biblios in Greek. Helios Biblios. Okay? What is Helios? Helios. Holy Bible is Helios Biblios. What is Helios? Helios is the Greek word for a young Greek sun god who rode across the sky each day in a chariot pulled by 4 horses. This is where you get the word Helios from. As a matter of fact, here he is right here. The word Helios means sun. Sun. The word Biblios means book. So you are reading the sun book. You're reading a book about Helios, which was their god of the sun. Not the S-O-N, but the S-U-N. The sun as it rotates around the earth. You understand? Helios Biblios is the sun book. So now, me as an individual, before we go further, myself as an individual, I was born in the constellation of Libra. In the terms of Kemet during the time, Libra didn't exist during the time that we're talking about. That didn't even exist. As we know, Libra is the scales. So I would be born in the month of what we would call Ma'at, around that season when we're dealing with the zodiac. Ma'at. Ma'at, as we know, is the scales. If you look here, this is how you would write it in Medunachar. Okay? This is how you would write it. Ma'at, meaning balance. So you see where they get these terms from. All of these terms that we use as far as the zodiac was taken from principles of Kemet. All of them. So now, what I want to introduce you to is some of the whistleblowers. There's always a whistleblower when you're dealing with this knowledge. There's always a scholar, a white scholar, a European, who's willing to tell on their own people. You know what I'm saying? It's in their nature. There's always one who doesn't mind giving you the information as is. And you got to be able to find those people as well. He goes by the name of Diodorus Siculus. Diodorus, or I should say Siculus. Okay? This guy is one of the first guys to really lay down what Kemet was doing, why Kemet was important. He was one of the first guys to really tell people the truth. The truth about what was going on in Egypt and what their stake on history was. He goes on to say, there is perhaps no land where the order and movement of the stars are observed exactly as in Egypt. They have kept records in which these observations have been written down for an incredible number of years. Here one finds information on the relation of each planet to birth of animals and the good or bad influence of each star. So the influence of stars on human affairs can be traced to an ancient Egypt through classical Greece. For the Egyptians, the stars had immense significance. The circumpolar stars that never set in the west were identified as the imperishable ones. And according to the pyramid text, the kings, pharaohs were raised up to heaven to join their company on death, where they would spend eternity free from change or decay. The revered dead had a long-standing association with the stars in early Egypt. So what he goes on to say, what he is telling you, is that nobody had more information about the stars. Nobody had more information about the first science before they even developed mathematics. Nobody had more information than Kemet. This is coming from the mouth of the ones who conquered Kemet. They will tell you themselves, for those of you who like to run to the Europeans for your credit, for your credibility, they will tell you themselves, their master historian will tell you himself, that nobody had more accurate information than Kemet about the stars, about the cosmos. I mean, as a matter of fact, they lined up the pyramids with the cosmos. Exactly to the cosmos, to the imperishable stars, the belt of Asar, which they renamed Orion's belt, but it was the belt of Asar. And get this, the planetary alignment for the Giza pyramids, it only happens once every 2,737 years. That's funny, considering we're only in the year 2018. But they were able to line up the pyramids with the exact rotation that only happens 2,730 something years. That should tell you that they've been observing the stars more than 2,730 something years prior to us even creating a date. Prior to us creating the time in which we live now. We were already charting and mapping the stars for over 2,000 years. Going on almost 3,000 years. In order for you to chart it, it's going to have to do this rotation a pretty significant amount of time in order for you to line it up and know it's going to be there every single time. You got to monitor that thing. So now, moving on. These stars line up with the belt of Asar. The belt of Asar. The sun moves around and it finds itself in these constellations. So now that we have the foundation that the sun moves around in these constellations, let's deal with these characters and figure out who these characters like Jesus, Moses, who these people are. In order to talk about Jesus, we got to start with Moses. Let's start with Moses. Here he is, Charlton Heston holding them tablets. We think of Moses, we think of this guy, right? The white man coming from down the mountains with the word of God. That's him. But see, when you go into, we don't deal with these drawings. These drawings is too recent. If we're dealing with somebody that old, we got to go back to the earliest depictions of Moses. The earliest depictions of Moses show him like this in Greece. This is how they show him in Greece. But there's something funny about this sculpture because he has horns on his head. Well, damn, what the hell he doing with horns on his head? That's kind of spooky. The only person that I know running around with horns like that is what they call Satan. He the only one that I see running around with horns on his head. Ain't that about right? I mean, it ain't no mistake. I mean, I could show you several ones where they show Moses with them tablets all over the place with horns on his head. Why? Why in the world would they depict Moses with horns on his head? There's many assumptions, but I'm going to tell you the truth. We don't deal with assumptions. We don't deal with assumptions. Let's take a look at the zodiac. Moses represents the constellation of Aries. Aries, the ram's head. Do you understand? They are telling you that the sun is in the constellation of Aries during this time period of what we're talking about. It's a book, an allegorical story about the sun. Moses would be the sun in the constellation of Aries. Are you following me? It's the age of Aries. They were moving into the age of Taurus. The age of Taurus. Okay? The age of the bull. Do you understand? This is why the people were celebrating the golden calf. The golden calf, which is the bull. And Moses was so upset because they were in a time period, they're talking about a time period that was shifting. The sun is moving. You're not supposed to be worshiping the golden calf. We're not in that time period. Oops. Oops. This is why Moses has horns on his head in the early depictions of Greece. It is because he represents that constellation. That golden calf can also be seen on the walls of Kemet. Look at the headdress. Do you see the headdress? It's the same exact headdress that we find on Het Heru. The same exact headdress. You see, what they wanted you to do is to stop worshiping, stop acknowledging the divine feminine aspect. The divine feminine aspect was always seen as a cow, as a calf. That represents the black woman. They don't want you celebrating the black woman. As a matter of fact, they went to it a further extent to go into the temple of Het Heru, which is where you find also Dendera. They went in there and they shot the noses off of the woman with the cow ears. You see? You see how they did that there? We can't have a black deity, a black female deity walking around. We can't have the people worshiping a black deity. Huh? Oh no. We're in a patriarch society now. It has to be a man running things. So they took them damn ears of the ram and they put it on Moses. Because that's who he is. He's the sun when he's in that constellation of Aries. Huh? Oh, y'all gonna get this work. Y'all gonna get this work. We're gonna bring y'all back to the divine feminine and understand the language of your ancestors. And just so we got no mistakes, so you don't say I'm throwing you drawings, here it is in stone. Here it is in stone. Huh? The same exact headdress that you see that they represent for the golden calf. They don't want you worshiping the golden calf. They don't want you bowing to the black woman and acknowledging the black woman who is representative of a calf. All right. So now we've covered Aries. We've covered Taurus. We've covered Aries and we've covered Taurus. The entire book is called the Sun Book. The Sun Book, Helios Biblios. So we need some more stories to corroborate this, right? We're going to need some more evidence. Let's keep this thing moving. Let's keep it going. Let's talk about this guy. Let's talk about this guy. I mean, this guy was so phenomenal, they literally called him the Son of God. The Son. The Son. Some of us interpret it as the S-O-N, when in actuality, it was just like Moses, the S-U-N of God. He would be synonymous with the character that which we call Heru. Heru. Heru was represented as a falcon-headed being. A falcon-headed being. Why the falcon? Why is Heru a falcon? I'll tell you why. Because when you're looking up towards the sun in Africa, the one bird that you will see that flies the highest towards the sun is the hawk. Is the hawk. If we are speaking the language of our ancestors, they would use the hawk to represent the sun. Because when you look up at the sun, the bird that you're going to see under that glare is the hawk. How is Jesus a sign of the zodiac? Well, let's go to Luke 22:10 through 12. Around this time, it's time for Jesus to almost be crucified on the cross, as they said. And he's talking to his disciples. And they say, we're going to have a Last Supper. Where should we prepare the table for dinner? Where should we do this? And Jesus goes on to say, he says, when you have entered the city, a man will meet you carrying a pitcher of water. Follow him into the house that he enters. A man with a pitcher of water. Follow him into the house that he enters. And you shall say to the owner of the house, the teacher says to you, where is the guest room in which I may eat the Passover with my disciples? And he will show you a large furnished upper room. Upper room. Prepare it there. So let's go to the Last Supper. Let's go to the Last Supper. Here you find Jesus sitting down at the Last Supper, and you also see his 12 disciples around him. This picture is significant. Why? Because if you notice, all of the disciples are grouped in groups of 3. In groups of 3. What do those groups represent? Those groups represent the seasons. The seasons. Winter, spring, summer, fall. In the new regime. Each of them represent a sign of the zodiac. It's not a coincidence that there are 12 disciples, 12 signs of the zodiac. Jesus being one of them, representing Aquarius. Pisces. Jesus, you ever seen this symbol running around? You ever seen that? Jesus is the constellation of Pisces, the fish. He's the fish. Huh? When he tells you to follow the water bearer into his house, he's talking about the constellation of Aquarius, the water bearer. You see? He's telling you, I will come once Aquarius comes. We got to do that first. You understand? It's the sun. Let's go to the chart. You see, Aquarius comes right before Pisces, right before the fish. You got to complete Aquarius before I can come. You got to prepare the table. Follow the water bearer into his house. Follow the water bearer into his house. And then I will arrive. You can't play around with this knowledge. You cannot try and play Kemet in any shape, form, or fashion when it comes to any religion, because they all got their knowledge from Kemet dealing with the cosmos. Jesus is the constellation of Pisces. He's telling you what's going to happen in order for him to return. To complete a solar year, you have to go through the age of Aquarius first, and then Pisces will return. He even says, I am the way, the truth, and the life. He goes on to say this, no one comes to the Father except through me. I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. This was already done. This was already done in John 14:6, because Heru is the one who introduces you to Asar sitting at the throne. As you can see on the right-hand side, in the soul of the woman, the divine feminine energy that he's introducing to Asar with his hand reached out, that is Heru, the sun. No one comes to Asar, no one comes to the Father but through Heru. Heru and Jesus are synonymous. They corrupted the concept and told you that he was a real human being. We knew that these were spiritual concepts describing science, astronomy, and astrology. We were dealing with astronomy and astrology. They gave you anthropomorphized real human beings, and y'all ran with it. And y'all arguing amongst each other about whose imaginary friend is realer. When we as Africans know where the story came from, could break it down for you, and tell you how to read the stars to understand what time of day it is. We still got people running around thinking it's 2018. You say, well, what about the miracles? Because Jesus performed miracles. Huh? What about the miracles? Well, let's talk about the miracles. Jesus walked on water. He walked on water. My dude, we see that every day. We see the sun walk on water every day. You see the footsteps? Do you see the footsteps? Look at the footsteps, y'all. Huh? Do you see the footsteps? The sun walking on water. Not the S-O-N. The S-U-N. Walking on water. It's allegory. Allegory. Let it marinate. Let it marinate. Jesus fake, bruh. I understand. I understand. I've been there. You can't unsee what you just saw. You can't unhear what you just heard. Jesus fake, bruh. As well as most of the key players in the Bible. Welcome to the Lighthouse. Welcome to the Lighthouse. Click the subscribe button. This is the first day of the rest of your life. Moving on. King Solomon. It's no coincidence his name is Solomon. Sol Amon. Sol Amon. Sol meaning sun. Amon. Amon, the deity of Kemet. Take both of those, put them together. You get Sol Amon. What is Amon? We've went through this lesson earlier. We're dealing with Amon, Amon Ra. It is the rebirth. It is midnight. It is when the sun is below the earth, so you cannot see the sun. It's midnight. It's dark. It's the spiritual realm of the sun when it sets. That is Amon. It's a time of day. So Solomon is giving you a time of day. King Solomon. Come on now. Once you got the foundation, you could pinpoint all the rest of the stories and put them together. It's just that simple. It's just that simple. So we can move a little bit quicker now. Daniel and the lion's den. What constellation are we talking about, family? If we're talking about Daniel and the lion's den. Come on now, put it in the feed. I'm not going to say it. What constellation are we talking about if we're talking about Daniel and the lion's den? Huh? Let's show them why we are the lighthouse. Let's show the people why we have awakened. Let's show the people who we are. If we are talking about Daniel and the lion's den, who is Daniel? What is the lion's den? I'll wait. My family's smart. My family's smart. Welcome to the Lighthouse. Do it make sense to argue with these fools on the street when they talking to you about Jesus anymore? When you know the truth? It don't make no sense, do it? It don't even make no sense. Come on, put it in the feed. Put it in the feed. What constellation are we talking about? If we're talking about Daniel, And the lions then. Because you know, they're not going to give you nothing set in stone. They're always going to give you these drawings. Here they come. Here come the time who with their drawings. You know we talking about the constellation of Leo. Huh? That's what we talking about. Cut it out. Cut it out. Don't tell me some man jumped in there with some lions and he was all good because an angel came down and saved him. That's an anthropomorphized African story that we gave to our children so they could understand the rotation of the sun, so they could understand what time it is. We gave them that story. Huh? As a matter of fact, we did everything as above, so below. Everything that we did that was done in the stars, we were trying to build it on land. That's why when you see the pyramids, they built and they linked up to the cosmos, to Asar's belt. This is why you see the Sphinx or the Heru and Makul. This is why you see the Sphinx lined up with the constellation of Leo. During the time this was built, it would have built directly staring at the constellation of Leo, the lion. You understand now? We were replicating the stars here on Earth. We were building monuments in reference to the stars. That way, we would know where we are on the planet. Because as above, so below. If you understood the first science, which they already did because they were calculating it for thousands of years, you could circumnavigate the planet without a problem because you know where you are. African science, African sacred spirituality, African mathematics. We created that. That's what they don't want you to know. That's what they fear. More than anything, they fear you getting this knowledge. They knew I was coming here. They knew I was coming here, and that's why they shut me down on Facebook. They knew. We dropped a couple hints on them. They knew where we was going. Jesus fake, bro. Moses fake, bro. They all fake. This is why you can't find none of the bones. You're never going to find any of the bones of any of the key players in the biblical text because they were never meant to be real human beings. Ever. But when you come in and you conquer somebody's land and you hear these stories and you see these monuments, you think they was real people. And in order for you to get the people to worship you, you anthropomorphize them and say that you the one that's coming back and you are that God. Huh? Ptolemy Soter. You say that you are that being. Bow down and worship me. If not, it's off with your head. No separation of church and state in this time. Off with your head. You worship me. I am the Lord, thy God. Huh? Matter of fact, we're changing the year. It's a new year now. We're starting at 0. AD. AD, meaning Anno Domini in the year of our Lord. They erased your whole history. This is why I don't argue with these people. This is why I don't go back and forth with these scholars. They don't have the credentials. My whole life was based on Christianity. There's nothing that they can tell me. Most of them that argue that Jesus was real has never walked through the houses of Christianity. Alkaline water. Shameless plug. Alkaline water. Shungite water. They never walked through those houses. They never walked through those houses. And you can tell by the way they talk. They never walked through the houses. As a matter of fact, you want to know my history? I got no problem with telling you. My history, my credentials. There's a book out written by my grandmother. It's called Aren't You the Family We're Talking To From Heaven? This is my whole life story in this book. This is my receipt right here. Written by my grandmother. My whole life in it. From a Christian's perspective. And in this book, you'll see me on the cover as a little boy. Right there. As a little boy. I was in church 6 days a week. 6 days a week. Getting the knowledge. Learning the ways of Christianity. There's nothing anybody can tell me. So when I give you this knowledge, know that you're getting it from a credible source. A very credible source. Masterful. No ego. Masterful. Facts. So, what I want y'all to understand is that there are forces at play. There are forces at play. Here's a book right here. I don't know if y'all can see that. That's me right there in the window. See me? And this is the name of the book. Sally Mae Jackson. That's my grandmother. She wrote this book. See that? That's my whole life story. My whole life story. I want to make sure y'all able to see that. This is the shungite water I was talking about. So that's just so you know that I don't tread anywhere. I don't tread anywhere that I haven't walked through the house. There's a lot of scholars who do. Here at the Lighthouse, we try to give you information. We want to give you information that you can take and say, you know what? I can go and do some research on my own to see if he's right. I'm not going to tell you to follow me, ever. I'm not going to tell you to follow me. That's not my thing. You understand? I'm going to tell you to take this information and do the background research behind it and come back and tell me if I'm right. Huh? Prove me wrong. If the Bible is not a book about the sun, if it does not mean sun book, prove me wrong. God bless the dad. And Teru, bless the dead. Pau and Teru. So what I want to say is, take this information, run with it. Run with it. Jesus is fake. Jesus is fake. Those stories that was written were anthropomorphized stories that you can use and you can apply them in your life, but they were not meant to be dealt with on a human level to think that you can walk on water. There are limitations. And a lot of these churches will sell you things that you can do and tell you that you can do them, but you cannot, because they were operations of the sun. You need to know the difference between the two. You need to know what was allegorical, what was metaphorical about the sun, and what were things and principles that you can take in your everyday life. You understand? The story wasn't written about an actual human being. And that's what you need to understand. Anybody who is trying to pass that on is trying to deceive you. Trying to deceive you. We don't do this for likes, shares, comments. We weren't even doing this for money. I was giving y'all knowledge for 3 straight years without ever even putting a PayPal up. I was asked to put a PayPal up by the followers. That's the difference between me and these other people. I can't speak for them. I just know my walk. And I got receipts of the houses that I've walked through. So with that being said, if this video did anything for you, if it did anything for you, for your family, feel free to donate to the PayPal. The PayPal is jamarmilton@gmail.com. We are still giving out meditation bracelets to everybody. You're not giving something for nothing. You know, we are shipping out these power bracelets here. This is what we use when we meditate in the morning. They are wrapped in copper and brass in the 9 ether coral. So it's giving you a great conductivity of electromagnetic fields on your wrist. So when I play these natural sounds, you can feel them even through the bracelet. So I also want to shout out a couple of people. Shout out to the Ancient Kemetic store. That's where I got my hoodie from. I want to shout out all my sponsors. You know, we got Black African sponsors. When the last time you seen a show with Black African sponsors? You'll find it here. I got no problem with promoting you guys. If you have a black business, hit me up in my inbox so I can show you some love. Mela Miracle for your lotion and for the package that you've been sending me. I appreciate it. They also sent me a body scrub. They make nice body scrubs. And they also make beard oil. Shout out to them. Shout out to my brother Jabari Osaze. We're reading his book, 7 Little White Lies. 7 Little White Lies. This is a great book that I advise everybody go out and read. It basically breaks down the misconceptions and the lies that we've been told about Africans and their culture. I highly advise picking that book up. Who Who else? I want to shout out Melody Mitchell. She's the one who makes these plates here. Everything that you see around me is from your people, your family in the lighthouse that created these things for me. She created these plates here, and they're coasters. You can put your plates and your glasses on them. You know, she created them with my logo. Everything you see around me. Shout out my brother, Jamaar Beard. He's a wonderful artist, and he made this beautiful picture of the divine feminine for me. And her afro are positive words of affirmation, all the fruits of the spirit, love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faith, gentleness, and self-control. He made this artwork and sent it to me. I appreciate him for this. He's a wonderful artist. Hit him up. If you're on the feed, Jamario, please put your link so that people can reach out to you and get some artwork, some beautiful black artwork. You know? Who else do I want to shout out? Shout out Latifah Foster. If you're looking into getting a Reiki reading done, you want to look for Latifah Foster. She's one of our mediators here on the line. She does Reiki readings, and she will get your aura back to where it needs to be as far as your reading. So shout out to her if you ever want to get that done. Okay, we also have the Lighthouse TV t-shirts. They are $25 or more. If you donate $25 or more, you will get the Lighthouse t-shirt. Let me see if I can find one of them here. This is what the Lighthouse t-shirt looks like on the back. It has Lighthouse. These are for people that are really trying to learn something. These are people that are really a part of the movement. If you want to represent the Lighthouse, you can get your Lighthouse t-shirt. It says duality and put your nines up on the front. Okay. That's the front of the shirt. It's the back of the shirt. Okay. Shout out to Coach Boner who sent me that. She's a t-shirt designer. Shout out to her. We have great talented people on this feed. Once again, the donation is JamarMilton@gmail.com. $25 more for the t-shirt, $50 or more for the power bracelet. With that being said, listen, y'all. Take these words that I just gave you, because you're not going to be able to forget what I just showed you. Those of you who are still going to church while you're sitting in your pew, you're going to remember what I just told you when they start telling you these stories and tell you that they were real people, but won't be able to produce a lick of evidence, bones, nothing. You understand? That's the reason why. So, with that being said, may the divine force in me greet the divine force in you. I love you. Dua, 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 dua. Ashe. Peace.